The Hunting Wives Season 1 is a soapy murder mystery set in the heart of Texas with non-stop twists and turns until the very end. A liberal woman named Sophie and her husband Graham move to a small town in Texas. After meeting at a party, Sophie quickly becomes enamored with a slightly more progressive but still extremely conservative wealthy woman named Margot. Similar to Devin in Netflix's Sirens, Sophie tries to become part of Margot's wealthy elite friend group, and she quickly learns that everyone has secrets. What starts out as a culture clash between MAGA conservatives and a liberal outsider becomes a murder mystery when a teenage girl named Abby is found dead in the forest. Sophie's new gun, which she was pressured into buying, goes missing. However, it resurfaces as the murder weapon. As Sophie tries to uncover the truth, she quickly finds that she can't trust Margot, despite them starting to have an affair together. Who murdered Abby in The Hunting Wives Season 1? The mystery at the center of The Hunting Wives is who killed Abby, and there are multiple suspects with strong motives. The most likely suspect is Jill, Brad's mother. After all, this is the killer in the book. However, Sophie learns that her new best friend and affair partner, Margot, was behind the murder. As we learn early in The Hunting Wives, Margot has been preying on Abby's teenage boyfriend, Brad, for some time. Even though she calls it an affair, I will refrain from painting it in that light, since he's a barely 18-year-old who is still in high school. It's heavily implied that she started sexually abusing him before he was legally considered an adult. Even if she waited until he turned 18, that would still be morally gross, especially since she had known him since he was a child. Margot doesn't want anyone to know about what she's doing to Brad, or the fact that she had an abortion after getting pregnant. She uses her influence over Brad to stop him from exposing their relationship, but she has no way to manipulate Abby into staying silent. As such, Margot silences her for good, covering up her deplorable actions. How Sophie learns about Margot's secret abortion. Sophie had all the pieces to put together the truth about Margot killing Abby. However, she couldn't figure out a strong motive until she figured it out when she learned that Margot had a secret abortion. Margot not only wanted to hide that she got an abortion, but also hide that Brad's sperm impregnated her. Luckily, Sophie comes across Margot's tampons in the bathroom after sex. Sophie remembered that the first time she met Margot told her that she couldn't use a tampon. Rather than ignoring the inconsistency, she looks into it and learns that pregnancy and abortion are the biggest reasons why a person can't use a tampon. Planned Parenthood recommends that people who get an abortion in office don't use a tampon for 1 week to decrease the chances of an infection. Unfortunately, Margot makes a mistake of denying she couldn't use a tampon, which raises a red flag for Sophie. Why Sophie covers up Kyle's accidental death. Sophie spends the first half of The Hunting Wives acting very strangely whenever the topic of drinking or driving a car comes up. She doesn't actually need a reason to refrain from doing either of those things, but the show reveals that she doesn't do either of them because of a previous vehicular homicide caused by her drinking and driving. This leads her to cover up Kyle's death in the final moments of The Hunting Wives Season 1. She recognizes that she has a past vehicular homicide charge, which would make the police blame her instead of considering that she might have been protecting herself. Additionally, she had already been investigated by CPS after the last accident. She probably realizes that, as the sole caretaker of her son at the time of the accident, she could lose him. Margot and Sophie's complex relationship explained the relationship between Margot and Sophie in The Hunting Wives rides a line between admiration, obsession, and attraction, making it one of the most complex in the series. It's hard to chalk all of Sophie's actions up to any one of these categories. Nothing in this show is simple and straightforward. Sophie might have started investing her time in the group because she admired Margot, but she soon became so obsessed with her that she put her family and responsibilities aside. She also started acting out a character to please Margot, looking for praise and approval. At the same time, though, there's zero question that she also felt sexual attraction towards Margot. Meanwhile, it's unclear whether Margot views Sophie as her new toy, if she wants to corrupt her, or she is attracted to Sophie. All are viable explanations. After all, Margot repeatedly pushes, if not actively crosses, Sophie's boundaries, especially when it comes to drinking, drugs, and guns. At the same time, she does act like she's attracted to Sophie and they do have chemistry. Like Sophie, it's probably a mix of them. The identity of K.C. Crummel's kidnapper and what happens to her. The Hunting Wives Season 1 introduces the kidnapping of a teenage girl named K.C. Crummel. This creates a strong mystery when Abby dies because the police worry that it might be a serial kidnapper and attacker. However, by the end, it's clear that a serial kidnapper and attacker does exist, but it has nothing to do with Abby's murder. The youth pastor, Pastor Pete, kidnapped K.C. Crummel about 7 months before the events of the Hunting Wives, and he makes Nina his second victim. Although we don't see K.C. getting kidnapped, she likely got a ride from Pastor Pete, and he drugged her like he did with Nina. Luckily for both K.C. and Nina, Officer Salazar manages to put together the kidnapper's identity in enough time to stop him. She and the other officers pull him over before he's able to leave. Both girls are alive in the storage container attached to his car. Sadly, they won't get any justice since he dies by suicide before the police can arrest him. Margot and Kyle's secret history in The Hunting Wives Explained.